Hello everybody. So today we're going to talk about gaslighting, what it is and how to know if you're being gaslighted and what to do about it. In this series of narcissism and emotional manipulators and tactics that toxic people use, my goal is to raise awareness about this and to, I really think this should be taught in schools, and many of you out there feel the same way as I do. I know there are many great channels that dedicate completely about this, but I wanted to add my small grain of, of salt. So in this series related to narcissism and cluster B personality disorders, we're going to talk about what tactics these people use. I think it's very important for us to be aware of them and recognize them, and especially if you're the kind of person, the kind of giving, pleasing and good people generally. And I think it's very important for us to be aware of that. They are, they have a whole agenda, and they want to control others. So we don't want that. So let's get to work. And they have tactics. They are like an open book. Once you start recognizing them, you start seeing, it's sort of like the Matrix. You start seeing their behaviors, and you just see them and say, oh, he's doing that, yeah, great. So it's a matter of learning. There are loads of videos on gaslighting, and they're very good videos because when you're being gaslighted, you don't really know you're being gaslighted. So I think it's very important to learn this. So the first thing, let's define gaslighting. So what is gaslighting? Gaslighting is when someone manipulates you into questioning your own feelings, your own sanity, your own reality. They get you to question your perceptions, and it's a very confusing thing to go through. When you're in it, you don't know you're going through that. And because, like I said before, if you're a good kind of person that generally first doubts about yourself and then about the other, you never think that somebody will harm you in any way, and then you meet these guys that they really have a whole agenda and they want to control you. So these types of personality, pathological of course personalities, they use this tactic to confuse you, basically. The term comes from a movie. It's not recognized in the traditional psychology books, not that I know of, and again, we still have a long way to go. But, psychologists use this nowadays, and it comes from the movie Gaslighting, and it's an Ingrid Bergman, I think, movie. So this woman's husband wants to send her to an institution for mental problems, and he starts to change things in their house, in their home. Basically, she thinks she's going crazy, which is what happens to the subject of this terrible tactic. Yeah, it's crazy making. One example would be, simple example would be, you go to have a shower, take a shower, Americans, UK. Don't confuse me, people. You go to have a shower. I'm from Argentina, by the way, for those of you who don't know me. And you go to have a shower, and then you turn on the hot water, and then the hot water is not running. And then you say, hey honey, the water heater on? And then the husband says, yes it is. Oh, okay, because I don't seem to have hot water here. And then the husband said, oh, I'm sorry honey, I don't know what happened really. Okay, so you have a shower with the cold water, go downstairs, look at the water heater, and you see that it's completely off. So then you go to the gaslighter, let's say it's your husband, and then you ask him, so the water heater was off, you told me that it was on, and I had the shower with cold water. And then the husband says, the gaslighter says, no, I never said that. No. Yes, you just told me that it was on, and I thought it was on, and then I had the shower with cold water, and I come back and it's off. No, you must be confused. No, I didn't say that. You're on. Either they start at this point, they start denying. They can deny what they said. No, I didn't say that. Or they can say you are completely crazy and start to be aggressive in that kind of way. They would say, oh, you're starting to imagine things. I never said that. What? I didn't say that. No, come on. Or there's another technique. They would say, I think I forget. I forgot. I forgot what I said. I don't remember what I said. What did I say? I hope you understood. That's one way of gaslighting, and there are many other more complicated, like for example, denying what they did to you and denying that something happened, or saying that they forgot, but you know really inside that A happened, and then they say B happened. So since it's very confusing and it's completely weird and awful, you would never imagine that somebody, and especially somebody that you are in a relationship with, you would never imagine that somebody would hurt you in such a way. So you just go and start doubting yourself, and you start to doubt your reality, and it's all progressive, and that's gaslighting. Why would they do this? And within the cluster B personality, there are different types of personality disorders. And so, for example, the narcissist would do this to control you, and which is very evil. This is all horrible. But you know, you cannot believe this happens, but it does. And yeah, and there are loads of people out there like this. So in order to control you and to belittle you and to have you, to belittle you and to have you this small so that they can do whatever they want. Say, cheat, steal, take all your stuff, control your life. And since you're this little, because they're doing all sorts of tactics that we're going to see in these videos, in this series. And the next one will be about projection. And yeah, so all sorts of manipulating tactics, they use techniques, and in order for you to be small and to you lose your personality, your security, your strength, inner strength, you lose your essence, your identity. And that's what they want. They want to have you inside a cage, manipulators, so they can do whatever they want, and they can extract your attention. For narcissists and for psychopaths, maybe it's to gain something. They have something on their mind, like for example, they want to, I don't know, like in the case of the movie, they want to steal jewels. So they would do this, just ruin a woman's life in order to get jewels, so that's what they do. So what do we do? If you're in this situation and you're listening to me and you are recognizing things that happen to you, or you are starting to believe that maybe something like this happened to you, most likely than not, it's happening. Okay, so what you can do is, first of all, I'm a big believer in good friends. Like, I have many friends, but I have two that are I would say my sort of sisters, and they are, I've known them for years and years, and they've known me for years and years. And if you have family too, please, family that you trust and but if you have friends, just call them and double check if what happened that day they were there, or ask them, do I always forget things, or do I, and they will say to you, I can assure, they will say, no, you're right, believe it or not, they will say that to you, no, you're right, that didn't happen, or that happened the way you thought it happened. So this gaslighting is starting to make you doubt a lot. How do you know if you're being gaslighted? This is a great question, because being in it, it's so confusing. And so listen to these questions. Do you ever feel like you have a hard time making decisions? Do you ever feel like before you were more secure, more sure of what you thought, what you felt, what, you know, making decisions came to you easier before, and now you feel like you have a hard time deciding stupid things. You feel like you need to call somebody else to ask, or you're putting all the security into one person and you need to ask that person everything before you decide. So do you feel like you started depending upon somebody to make decisions? Do you find yourself second guessing all the time? Do you feel like now you're having less confidence in yourself, like you're doubting everything you do and that you need to consult with somebody else? So, and then it's hard for you at this point to feel like that person may be gaslighting you, but because you love them and you care for them and it feels safe. So what to do? It's so hard to get out of this situation because it's completely confusing and it's crazy making, pure crazy making, like the movie. And so I would say, first of all, call a friend and double check. Do that. Believe me, do that. Second, see a therapist if you can. If you cannot, remain defiant. And that's one thing that there's a great, I'm going to link it below. There's a writer called Ariel Levy, and she said she grew up with a mom that was a gaslighter. She grew up being gaslighted, and she remembers on school nights when she was little, she had to go, the next day she had to go to school, and the mom would have parties at home, and she was a well-known writer, her mom, so she would have all sorts of people in the party, let's say, I don't know, Wednesday night, and then she would go to bed, close her door, and somebody from the party would come sit in her room and start talking because they wanted to get out of the party, and then she was there sleeping, and then the next day she would confront her mom and say, "Mom, I needed to sleep. I had to go to school, and these people came into my room, and you're having parties all the time, and I can't sleep." And the mom would completely deny that, or say that she was a brat and she was badly behaved, and no, you're saying that and you're a bad girl and all that. So she grew up in that atmosphere, that horrible place to grow up. And she developed coping mechanisms, such as, she says, remain defiant. And she says that that's what saved her. She remained defiant of what her mom said. She would confront her and said, "No, that happened. You know, you had a party, people came into my room," and her mom would say, "No, that didn't happen," or "You're being a brat," or whatever. So I'm minimizing everything. And yeah, so remaining defiant is a good way to go. And also, please see a therapist, and I can tell you that will help you immensely. So yes, that's another technique that these people usually use and we need to be aware of. So that's all for today, and I hope you find it useful, and if this helps even one of you, I'm happy, and that's why I'm doing these videos. And yeah, so I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for being here today. Bye.